Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I want to talk to you about wrist angles before impact, at impact, and maybe a little bit about how you release the golf club. This was a request by one of my subscribers, so hopefully this gives you some further insight. Wrist angles are something that golfers have been probably more aware of over the last 4 or 5 years than any other time. I think it's been brought on by the inception of someone like a Dustin Johnson, who had really strange looking wrist angles at the top of the backswing. Then we got into a bit of an era of the stronger grip, weaker grip, and what that looks like at the top. Back in the day with the Ledbetter Faldo era, it was more of a cupped wrist, putting loft on the golf club on the way down, without really any reference to how we hold the golf club. And I know you're probably going to go, oh God, he's going on about the grip again. But honestly, if you're not understanding the relevance of the grip and how the grip influences what wrist angles you can either work with or not work with, you are missing a massive, massive, massive trick in your golf game. So do go back and check over my grip series videos. There's 3 of them, and I really articulate how the grip needs to be placed and the relevance of all the various components. So do check that out. Top of the backswing. There is much discussion about how people want to see their angles of their wrists. As usual, I've got my 3 ingredients up on the screen here: attack angle, club path, face to path, and face angle. I'm just going to switch that face to path and face angle around. Done. So I want to make you aware of wrist angles on the way down today. I think, at the top of the backswing and on the way down. When golfers have moved the club back, there's always some sort of jiggery-pokery going on here in takeaway, and I've done a video on that. When we get up to the top of the backswing, so many guys and girls are trying to change the angle of their wrist angle. I could have a super strong grip, go to the top of the backswing, and I could create a cupped wrist angle, and I probably could get away with it, and I could probably still play and use the strong grip. Equally, I could go to the top of the backswing with a strong grip and flatten out my left wrist, and the face would be hugely strong. Now, something I want you to really appreciate is that how we orientate the handle down at strike will really mean how much you need to focus on how much you're either strengthening or weakening the club face at the top and on the way down. If we have a golf club handle that's trying to rise up and causing the club face to open up, what we will tend to see people trying to do is strengthen the wrist angle at the top to accommodate that shape at strike. So if I create more of an elevated handle, I need a stronger face angle, because as the handle moves out to the right, which a lot of people are still trying to do to swing from the inside, you need a wrist angle that negates that overcomes the fact that the handle is lifting and pushing out to the right at strike. You'll need to negate that with a stronger wrist angle and a stronger grip. But the trouble is, when you start doing that, you then start to make the loft of the golf shot come down. So here is one at the top. I'm going to make my wrist angle stronger, and then I'm going to try to lift my handle up through strike. Microphone came off. So now all of a sudden, I've got myself a draw flight on the back of making the wrist angle stronger and then lifting the handle up through strike. So I go wrist angle flat at the top, lift the handle up through strike, and I've created the draw. Now what I'm going to do, let me just place that in a spot that hopefully isn't going to fall off this time. Now I'm going to go cupped wrist at the top, still the same grip, cup wrist angle at the top, elevate the handle. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to go to the top, cupped wrist angle, same grip, elevate the handle. And now all of a sudden the handle rised up, and now all of a sudden the ball's gone to the right. Path line was back inside again. Handle elevated up, ball went to the right. So if you've seen some instruction where people are trying to shape your left wrist, bow, flex your left wrist through strike and push out to the right, they are opposing each other. They are opposing each other because the more we lift the handle up, the more we open the face. The more we open the face, the more we've got to bow the left wrist through strike. And what people tend to try to do is they try to set it on the way back to give someone a sporting advantage on the way down. Because when I'm pulling on that golf club from the top, trying to pull on the golf club and trying to shape the wrist angle, I think that's difficult to do. I mean, it's doable, but it isn't half tricky. I mean, doable with a 7-iron. Driver, not really sure about that. I think the best players in the world, they move their wrists in a way, or the wrist angles in a way that they've done from being a kid. I wouldn't embark down that journey. So now what I'm going to do is got a good grip. And now I'm going to try to make the handle lower, but actually I'm going to actually impart some cup of my left wrist through strike. So I'm going to make the handle go lower. Went lower through strike, a bit more of a cup. Look how the club, hey. You can see how the ball actually came out much straighter. Now, that's the polar opposite to a wrist angle that's bowed, and I'm trying to shift the handle all over the place. If I bow that wrist again, and I now do exactly the same as what I just did on the way through to that one there, look how that golf ball has gone a tad left. So the track of the handle through strike will really either help or be hindered by the wrist angles that you're delivering at the top, delivery, and through strike. The more you return the handle back to setup, the more the loft will try to point down the ball line. So the more I elevate the handle, the more the face points right. The more I lower the handle, the more the face points on line. The more the handle is more underneath me at strike, the less relevance a wrist angle change has. And the more a grip will influence whether you're a draw bias or a fade bias. The more we are out of sequence or out of orientation with the handle through strike, the more that we have to change the grip, the wrist angle, to overcome that. If you're a golfer that is battling a slice and you are trying to change the path, you are going to have to really change your wrist angle at the top, bow it, to overcome the track of the handle. So the way you've articulated or the way you've thought about fixing your slice is that you've thought about the ball is going to the right, my path is going to the left, I need to therefore change my path. Well, as soon as you then do that and then you start pushing the handle out to the right, you've made the face worse, but you've made the path better. Could have made the path better, not always. Wrist angles are certainly an ingredient that help or hinder, but it must go hand in hand with your grip, wherever you started with your grip, and how much the handle is elevated through strike. The handle elevation through strike is really a balancing up of how the head and the handle are working in your backswing and downswing, and that's another video to come your way fairly soon. So in summary then, the grip is first point of call. Are you a strong gripper or are you a weak gripper? Now I've had enough people on my mat say to me, oh, I've got a strong grip, and they stand on there and their grip looks strong, but it's through the palm and is actually weak. So you really need to check out my video series, my third of the video series, if you want to hotwire to the good stuff, to find out whether you are actually a strong gripper. If you're a strong gripper, you have the ability to not worry about a bowed wrist at the top. If you're a strong gripper and the ball is going to the right, the chances are the handle is elevated through strike, pushing the handle out to the right, which is opening the face up. If you are a weak gripper, then this is certainly something, I would not go about trying to change your wrist angle as if you're a weak gripper, because it's just hard work. The grip will always win. Therefore, if you're a weak gripper, you will have to make some sort of change with your wrist angle at the top, and we see people like John Rahm, Jordan Spieth that do this. They have a weak grip, they bow their left wrist to negate the weaker hold at strike. Now that's something that they will have done from being a kid. Again, I wouldn't recommend you going down that track either. So the upshot of it is, if you're trying to mess around with your wrist angles in your backswing, in your downswing, in your through swing, I think you're being inefficient. You're trying to pull the handbrake up to slow the car down instead of changing down and using the brakes. So have a little think about that. But hopefully that's been insightful, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me. That's good coaching. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next one.